Great. All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Libor Vance, Senior Product Designer from the Ecosystem Group. And today, for my UX Showcase, I want to talk about work that we're doing for the GitLab for Jira app. So this app currently exists in the Atlassian marketplace. And when it's enabled, it will show GitLab activity inside of Jira issues. Excuse me. So you might ask, who is this app, or who's using this app, or who's it for, and maybe what the difference is between this app and our existing Jira integration that lives inside of GitLab. So to answer this, I'm going to do a quick recap. So in my previous UX showcase, I showcased the work that we've been doing to extend the Jira integration of allowing Jira issues inside of GitLab. So the persona that we focused on for that was Sasha, the software developer, whose company has invested in Atlassian. You know, their work is being tracked by other personas, like, for example, project managers and designers inside of Jira. But the software developers still wish to, work in GitLab full time. So just to note, future iterations of the Jira integration, may expand beyond the software developer persona, but for now it's primarily focused on that persona. So what I've also done here on this slide is I've converted our user stories into a job story. I want to thank Marcel for pointing that out. I think it's a little bit more helpful way to framing the story. So in this case, for the software developer, when working on an issue, I want to stay in a single system so that I can stay focused on my tasks. So then on the image on the right here, that's what the Jira integration looks like when it's enabled and when the viewing of the Jira issues is enabled. Just wanted to, again, highlight that for anyone that might have missed that from the last showcase. So now moving forward with the GitLab for Jira app in Atlassian's marketplace, we're focusing on Parker, which is the product manager persona. So PMs basically want to understand the details of how Jira issues are getting resolved without having to leave Jira. So it's kind of the other side of the coin, if you will. So again, PMs are not wanting to leave Jira and wanting to stay and do their work there and still understand what's going on on the development side of things. Again, the job story for the project manager here is when I'm trying to understand the status of an issue, I want to see all the relevant information in one place so I don't have to spend valuable time looking in multiple places. And again, the image on the right here is an example of what the GitLab for Jira app looks like when it's enabled. So when it's enabled, inside of Jira, project manager will see this little development panel that shows up that will show the relevant GitLab activity. So right there, you'll see like a GitLab branch or commits and some other information. Let's see. So I want to go into why are we improving this? And more importantly, and this is something I maybe should have brought up in previous UX showcases, is you might ask, why are we focusing on integrations in the first place if GitLab is the one tool for the entire DevOps lifecycle? So to answer that, imagine that a large organization, that's heavily invested in Jira for many years. They have multiple departments and they're using upwards of, tens of thousands of Jira issues, or they've created tens of thousands of Jira issues. And their engineering team primarily uses GitLab, for DevOps, but they still need a way to communicate their progress, with the rest of their organization via Jira. So a company like this, it's unlikely that an organization like this will, switch to GitLab overnight, but providing them with integrations can support them in the meantime, and it could give engineers, a good chance to demonstrate to the organization why switching to GitLab in the future or in the long run would be a good choice. So moving on, looking at the business impact, we've been seeing more and more larger organizations interested in using GitLab in conjunction with their existing setups. And then here's just a quote that I kind of reused from the last UX showcase, which is from a sales representative at GitLab. Let's see. So now going back, so now that I've talked about the value of even having integrations in the first place, I want to go back to why we should improve the GitLab for Jira app or why it needs improvement. So currently there's only 5% of users that have tried to install the app were successful, which isn't many. So here are some reviews that I've just taken a screenshot from the marketplace, which also I think we can definitely improve upon here. Let's see. So, and in order for me to understand what was going on and why the installation success rate was so low, I first tried to set it up myself. I created a video walkthrough that you could see in the issue here that's linked. And I've also reached out to support to see if there was any related older support issues with this application. I just want to call out and thank Cynthia and the rest of the support team here for helping me pointing me in the right direction and helping me surface some of these related Zendesk issues that are linked as well. And I later spent some time installing other third-party applications that were listed in like the top rated category in the Atlassian marketplace to understand, how we differ from like a better experience there. All right, moving forward. So after doing this exercise, I came up with some recommendations. For this presentation, I'm only going to highlight the top 3 that I've identified. So number 1 would be enforcing authentication. So this screen that you see here is what you see as a user setting up the app for the first time. If I clicked on the Get Started button from the listing page, I see this screen here, which is which this view doesn't really help me understand like what to do next. I might not even be familiar with what a namespace even is. So there's a lot of lacking of maybe some help text that could fix this. But it also doesn't actually mention anything about that I need to be signed into GitLab in order to proceed as a user, which is an issue here. So if I tried, as a user, if I try to start adding some namespaces on this screen, I get the following message if I wasn't logged in. So the message also isn't really helpful. It doesn't suggest what I need to sign into and where I should even do that, or how do I resolve this error message. And even in the ideal case, if I was signed into GitLab, let's say for example in another tab, I could potentially be signed into like a different GitLab account, like for example my personal account, and then I would be maybe trying to add a namespace here for my work account, and I'd be very confused at why I don't have permissions to add those namespaces. There's no system status here of showing, first that I need to be logged in, and second of all, who I'm even logged in as. So this whole screen seemed to be the highest point of friction in the installation flow. So there's one way to fix this, or one of the recommendations here, is to just prompt the user to authenticate first before allowing them to even do any tasks if they don't have access to those tasks. So right away we could reduce a lot of error messages right here just by adding a quick login screen or login prompt. And then next, what we could do once you are logged into GitLab, we could explicitly call out here who they're logged in as, and give them the option to sign out if they need to, and re-log in with their correct GitLab account. Okay, moving forward here. So another thing, or another problem on this screen is that this view or UI really makes the user guess on what they should input in this field. So this guessing game can cause also a lot of frustration, and it forces the user to leave the installation flow. So what they'll probably do next is try to start searching for some documentation on what they should put into this form field, Or if they do know what to put in here, then they still have to leave to go to GitLab to maybe copy and paste their namespace to put into this field. So instead, what we could do here is offer a more like a user-friendly input. So if we already know that they're logged in, we could surface the available namespaces for them and make it simple click action for them to add the namespace and link it to their Jira. Again, here I want to call out Heinrich from the plan team. He was super helpful in helping me understand all the technical constraints and understanding how the app is set up and why it's set up the way it is. And he also provided really great feedback on some of the design updates when I was working through this. And then lastly, we could do some easy improvements here on just improving the messaging on the listing page. And then there's also some issues here that some of the security certificates weren't up to date. So making all those changes should make just make it more approachable to a larger audience. And this here is a preview of the proposed updates. So we'll be adding, more screenshots of how it works, and then highlighting more of the benefits and actually who it's for. And then here I also want to call out Craig and Cormac and thank them for all their help on the copy here. I know Craig just was thrown into this last minute, so thanks for that. And then moving forward again here, so the recommendations that I've just mentioned, we're working through right now. They're in development, and there's still some changes being made there. But there's also, looking forward, we want to simplify the overall installation flow for the Jira integration. So the current problem is there's currently 3 ways that you can integrate Jira with GitLab. So there's the GitLab project integration that we have right now. Then there's like this Atlassian Connect app, which is the GitLab for Jira that I've just mentioned, or that I've just talked about. And then we also have the Jira DVS connector. So in an ideal world, you could just connect or approach this from one of the entry points, set it up once, and then ideally, you wouldn't have to do any kind of additional setup work. So that'll be some work that I'll be working through in the next later milestone. So right now it's scheduled for 13.7. Let's see. Yeah, I guess that's all that I have for this UX showcase. I want to thank you all for listening. And again, special thanks to all the various groups that helped me out. And thank you, Marcel, for all the feedback that you've given me for this presentation. All right, and see you all next time.
Thanks, Libor. That looks like you found a bunch of meaningful areas to update. So
yeah.
I would assume those stars will increase.
I hope so. Yeah, working towards it.
Yeah. You don't have any questions?
Yeah, I do. I agree. These are good changes. I was aware of the 5% success rate on the Connect app, which is just heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Does your team have a goal, a usage goal, or a successful completion goal post?
Good question. Yeah, good question, Christine. I know we have an issue to follow up on this. I'll have to follow up with Patrick on what our goal or successful goal is. But I think right now, the bar is set pretty low. So I think anything we do here it will be an improvement. But yeah, as far as a specific metric that we want to hit or target, I don't think we have, or I don't know of it. I'd have to follow up on that.
Okay. Yeah, I think that I think we have access to data around average successful completion rates for other plugins. And so that's something that we should look at. And especially given that you did the right thing, which is you went through and you looked at the best rated ones. So you could kind of see, what does this experience look like? So if we're pushing towards that, we can probably take both of those things together and go, okay, if we do this stuff, we should at least get here. So curious to hear where you land on that.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up. I'll make a note to bring that up next time.